Welcome back to our Wednesday Mastermind. John, welcome. Got everybody on here, and we got a special guest. Actually, not a special guest. We want you to be part of our family going forward. So I added you to invite. Come on, even if you're not the feature speaker every week. But Ed Stratton from Stratton Mortgage is going to speak with us today about what's going on in the market on the mortgage side of things and what products that you need to have in place and be aware of to win deals in this market. We know there's all kind of headwinds and challenges. Ed Fordyce, if you want to give a deeper introduction here as well, because you know Ed a little bit better than I do, go fire away, brother.
Yeah, just real quick. I guess a year and a half ago, Ed and I sort of shared the same mentor, and we didn't know it. One day we met for lunch and talked more about our missions in life and parenting and all of that stuff. And then just to give you an idea, like what I've learned about Ed over the years is like, I'll have too much caffeine on a Sunday morning and be like, dude, you got a minute? And he always says, man, if it's an emergency, I got you. But if it's not, man, I'm with my wife and kids right now. Can I call you back? I really respect that about him. And the other part is I'm working out one day and I get this message. It's a video of him running up a hill somewhere in Florida or Delaware. And he's like, I'm getting it after it, dude. And then the next message is, yeah, I hit it a little hard. I'm on the side of the road throwing up. And I'm like, I trust people like that. I'll put my clients in their hand anytime, man. But he's a master at what he does. He probably won't tell you this, but I know it was either last year or maybe even this year. He was the #1 loan originator in the state of Delaware. He's an animal in business. He's passionate about life, man. And it's just cool to be in the same tribe as him.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the hype with everything there. But no, absolutely love the opportunity to kind of get around you guys and lock arms through this market. You know, I don't know, Guillermo, what the plan is for this call. If you got something you want to do first, or when you're ready for me to lead in, you want me to go ahead and roll?
Oh, you, man. Yes,
all right, perfect. So we've kind of been talking and stuff and kind of decided for this, it'd be best to kind of talk about what's going on in the market right now, because it's crazy. 90% of us have never seen this. Kind of some products that are really doing well in this market to set you apart, or just things. The biggest thing you need is conversations. You need your client when you call them to want to talk to you, or to have something to talk to them about, to kind of keep them on the phone and keep that excitement going. So we'll talk a little bit about some products. And then the biggest one, which everybody needs to have their eyes on, is where is the market going? You know, because this season that we're in is going to refine us. You know, it's going to make us where we need to be as the market changes. So right now, mortgage world, you know, the credit box is tightening a little bit. You know, they're being a little stricter on loans that come across. But with that credit box tightening is a lot of these products I'm going to talk to you guys about that we're starting to do. Interest rates, you're dealing with interest rates right now that are going to be over 7%. Historically, that's not a bad rate at all. People are starting to accept the rates. I don't know if you guys have seen, but you're starting to see people that are they're accepting that home prices are up and interest rates are higher. You know, one of the biggest conversations that I have with everybody is there's some numbers out there that say for every 1% rates drop, 5 million new buyers come into the market. So if you are not the best qualified client right now, you don't have a ton of money down, maybe need some down payment assistance or a seller's assistance, this is your time. Because when 5 million more people hop in the market, there's already very little inventory. You don't stand a chance. So it's walking your clients through. Homes were always, you bought them as an investment. You know, really great agents helped you understand that you're buying this home as an investment, whether it's an investment for your family or an investment for money down the line. You bought it with a purpose. It wasn't just to have a house. You might want the yard for your dogs. You might want to move into a better school district. You might want to have some stability for your life and your kids' lives. So it's really focusing on that piece with it. And if you can stomach the payment, you know, I tell everybody, if you can stomach the payment now, you have to be able to handle the payment. Don't get over your head hoping for a refinance. We know rates are going to come down, but if you're comfortable with the payment now, or you can be a little bit uncomfortable but make the numbers work, buy now. Because we all know rates will come down. And when they come down, we're not going to have a whole lot more supply out there. So it's supply and demand. If we don't have more supply and rates are down, people are going to be willing to pay more money, and more people that are waiting for the market to crash or for rates to fall are going to jump in and buy a home. The more competition there is with that limited inventory, it's going to drive those prices up. So it's really sitting down with that client and helping them understand that, hey, your payment might be a little higher now. In the future, it's going to come down. I think the Fed's kind of towards the end of their rate increases. You're starting to see some of those holes in the economy that are starting to show up through. The more those holes show, the Fed will stop with the rate increases. You know, there's a lot of commentary coming out this week, and it went from the Fed saying increase, more work to do, to now you're starting to see some of those people that said increase, keep increasing rates. They're starting to say, hey, maybe we need a pause, or maybe we need to watch what the market does. So you're kind of at that teetering point with less people trying to buy right now. You can possibly get a deal. You know, I tell a lot of my clients that I talk to that they're looking for the deal in the market, you got to search in the bargain bin. Bargain bin to me is homes that are on the market for 30 days or more. You know, something happened during COVID that people automatically thought that if a home's been on the market for 30 days, there's something hugely wrong with it and they don't want to go see it. That used to be the norm. You would go see a house that had been on the market for 30 days. So if you've got somebody that's looking for a bargain, start on those 30 days, because you've got a seller on that house that's starting to freak out, that thinks something's wrong because their house hasn't sold. So you can play off of that fear of that seller and really close on that deal. We've got right now, you probably have a lot of clients when they go to buy a house, they have to pay points. You know, there's just no spread in the mortgage world to where if you don't have great credit, you might have to pay a point just to get a loan, which is something that's not normal for the last couple of years, but it's something that's happening right now. Switching over to kind of like products that are out there. I know that Darwin and I have talked about this, is the DSCR, and it's a debt service coverage ratio loan. Those loans are becoming very common for investors right now. I have a lot of investors that are buying that don't have the greatest tax situation, you know, so maybe they're self-employed and their business shows no income, but they've got cash and they want to get into owning investment properties. Or maybe you have the person who, you know, they don't show enough income on paper to qualify for their W-2 job, but they sold something, they made a little bit of money, and they've got 20% to put down. A DSCR loan, as long as your rent is going to be greater than what the mortgage payment will be, and you put 20% down, we'll do the deal. You know, so that's a great thing to kind of like push out there to get conversations going for yourselves. You know, it's outside of the traditional just, hey, you got to show me your tax returns and all of this stuff. You know, you could shoot a quick little video of, hey, do you want to buy an investment property and not have to income qualify? Just a short little video like that you put out is going to generate some conversations for you. And I have a lot of investors that are switching to that. A lot of your smart investors know that right now, getting them the cash flow is tough because of where interest rates are. So we can actually do that DSCR as an interest only loan. So they only are required to make the interest payment. So if you talk to a lot of your investors, or if you're trying to be a little more seasoned, they care about cash flow. And they know that this home is going to appreciate in the future, and they know that rates are going to come down. What they're focused on right now is acquiring that property before home prices go up and go higher. And they want to make sure they're not losing money on that property. So if you go to that interest only payment, a lot of times you can get a small cash flow. Like I have one guy, he just closed. He bought in an area where in 5 years, it should go up about 25%. He doesn't even want to make money monthly. He just doesn't want to lose money on it monthly. So he's doing interest only. I think he's making like $100 a month off of it, but it's a $500,000 house. And, you know, he's going to get 20 to 25% appreciation in 5 years. That's a big chunk of change that he's going to cash out on and roll that into something different. So it's having those conversations. I don't know. Do you deal with a lot of, go ahead.
Hey, Ed, so on that DSCR, is there a ratio? Like I always target 1.2. Is it just 1-to-1 on that?
Yep. So if you can get one, they'll do the deal with 20% down. If you're like 1.25 to 1.35, you'll get a little bit better of an interest rate. So it's all kind of like slotted based on risk. So the better it cash flows, the better your rate's going to be. If you've got this property, you know, I've got one going right now. It doesn't cash flow right now. It's like 0.8. and the cash flow. So the mortgage payment's going to be higher than the rent, but the property he can improve. It's a duplex, so he can improve it, which will increase those rents and make it cash flow. We'll actually, with 25% down, we'll do one that negative cash flows. So
Okay.
it's got to be the right situation.
Yeah.
But this guy, it's got really low rents because of the condition it's in. When he brings it up to the, updates it, puts a washer and dryer in it, updates the condition of the home, his rents will go up about $300 per unit, and then it's going to cash flow really well, and he'll refinance at that point.
Got it. And so there's no early prepayment penalty on that, or how's that work?
So that's also, you could go anywhere from no prepayment penalty to a 5-year prepayment penalty. Yep. And that's something where I'll kind of guide your client through it.
Gotcha.
The longer the prepayment penalty, the better interest rate they're going to get. Gotcha. So I tend to look on a lot of those in like a 3-year prepayment penalty, because you still get a good rate. And the way those prepayments work, it's 3% in the first year. So if you pay it off in the first year, you got to pay 3, then 2, and then 1.
Yeah.
So we're shooting at that window. Most of these people in 24 months, I'm going to refi. So if you got to pay a 1% penalty, not a big deal.
Got it. Okay.
We'll kind of look towards that. Do you guys deal with a lot of first-time home buyers, or are you dealing with a lot of investors? What's your kind of business mix that you guys are doing a lot of?
I'll let others speak. Go ahead. Don't be shy. Speak up.
For me, it's first-time home buyers and investors.
First-time home buyers and investors?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So
I can see the people on this call, and there's a mix of like almost everybody on this call works with investors.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So the investor piece, that piece of the market's moving, and then first-time home buyer, that's probably the best segment of the market right now to focus on if it were me, because that's the people that are going to keep buying in any market. Your people that are sitting on 3% rates, they may or may not buy, but if they don't have to, they might sit and they might wait. First-time home buyers, they're getting frustrated about rents going up. They're having trouble getting approved for rentals because the requirements on some of these rentals are absolutely crazy now. And they're ready to make that move and control their destiny because they've seen those rents go up. So we've got all the down payment programs that come through the state of Pennsylvania. We're with the New Jersey programs. And then we also have one that's been really useful that don't have to be a first-time home buyer, no income limit, and they'll do 100% FHA financing. So we've been using that when people need that down payment assistance, but their income's too high. We've been using that 100% FHA program, and it goes down to a 600 FICO. So a lot of your down payment assistance programs are like a 640 FICO. So some people can't quite do it, but we've been doing a lot of people down to 600 and putting them in that program. It's been working really good and helping out. I just closed one yesterday. And then also too, don't pass up your people that need a little bit of credit help. So I don't know if you guys have a credit repair company you use, but I've seen probably 50% of my deals now that are actually closing and going under contract are people with not great credit. And it's because they can buy in this market. The person that has not as great credit, they're more payment driven. They don't really care about the interest rate as much. They just want to get a house. So we actually do minor credit repair for people. So if you have somebody that's looking to buy a house and they tell you, hey, my credit's not great, ask a little bit of them. You're also betting if it's worth your time. You know what I mean? So you can ask some of those questions. But if it sounds like, I always say if they have one of the three, if they've got great income, or if they have a lot of assets, or if they've got good credit, we can figure it out. If they've got good income, but their credit's horrible, that means they're going to have income coming in, so we can work on fixing their credit. If they've got assets, but their credit's horrible, we can fix the credit using those assets. So if they've got one of those threes going for them and they tell you, hey, I've got a 550 credit score, send them over. You can do an FHA loan with 10% down to a 500 credit score. Most people don't know that. So really just looking at those different things. We also offer bridge loans. So if you've got that client that needs to sell a property to buy the next one, we'll do a bridge loan on that departing property where we can pull the money out that they can use for the down payment on the new home. We can pull some money out and pay off some debt so they qualify to be non-contingent. Because that's a big piece in this market with limited inventory. People see contingencies and want to find ways to get rid of them. So we've been doing quite a few of those. Are there any scenarios or anything you guys have run into recently that have been tough or concerning? I know Darwin, in the past you had that FHA anti-flipping rule that you ran into. Anything unique or that you're seeing in the marketplace?
Don't be shy.
Any of you guys do a lot in Philly?
Yeah, mostly everybody here is Philly. John's in Florida. Sean is outside of Philly. She's in with Delaware County right now. Just Delaware County.
Montco and Bucks.
Bucks.
Montco.
Oh, Bucks.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. No. I circled something that you said there, and guys and gals, in any of these sessions is like, hey, what's that one nugget, two nuggets, three nuggets that you can take that's going to help move your business forward, right? And that's really the exercise here, right? It's like just arm yourself with the information so that you can get people off the sidelines, right? Where all I hear is like, man, not enough inventory. My buyers can't find stuff. Well, guess what? The inventory is what it is. We can't change that. But you can trade, it's math, right? You get more buyers out there looking and you got more solutions for them. Probability is going to hit, then you're going to have more closings. So what I heard is like, I love that nugget. I would put that right up on my behind my desk. Is like, for every 1% the interest rate drops, 5 million buyers enter the market. Like, you guys got to have that at the tip of your tongue when you're having your buyer conversations, right? Anybody who like just hesitates for a second, like, well, I don't know, the market, interest rates, I don't know if I'll wait to the fall or wait to the spring. You got to be busting that out and with full confidence on that. Like, get them off the sidelines, because, and by the way, whose best interest is it to like move forward and buy, right? It's not yours, it's theirs. It's in their best interest to hear this information and take action.
Yeah, and it's the numbers, like when you lay those numbers out to clients, I just watch their whole attitude change, because I'll have a lot of agents that'll send me over referrals and be like, hey, this guy, like, can you help me get him off the fence? And I just break it down in a really like non-pressuring way of just like, hey, why do you want to buy? Like, you got to get their why. And once you get their why, you just kind of back it up with some information, and there's plenty of people out there that thought it was going to crash when rates were in the threes and they were waiting for it to crash. And now they're trying to buy and the house $100,000 more expensive and 7.25% for the interest rate. So like, people actually know this is like, recently people just bet on a crash and it ended up the opposite direction, or maybe they couldn't buy because they weren't that well qualified client and they knew how crazy competitive it was during like COVID, where people were going way over asking and paying cash for everything, so that's fresh in their minds. A lot of your clients that are nervous, and it's supply and demand. The only way you have a huge crash in real estate is if we have a ton of supply and no demand for it. We already know we have a crazy demand, and that's with 7.25% interest rates. The demand's only going to increase as rates go down. Builders can't build homes fast enough. The banks are making it tougher for builders to get money to build houses. Yep. And you have hedge funds that have entered the market, BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard. They're buying a lot of your single family homes up. Those homes will never be sold again to a regular consumer. They're going to be sold 500 to 1,000 at a time to another hedge fund. So you've got to go get your house now, because I think 10 years, the future for someone buying a house is not going to be easy. I think the average person in 10 years, it's going to be tough to buy a house. So just put those numbers out in front of them.
Yeah, I love that. Like that I knew, but when you put that whole BlackRock, the hedge fund part of it, right, in place, I know it's happening, but connecting the dots. So connecting the dots yourself, but connecting the dots for your consumer. Like, that's incredible. You're right. That's never going to be available to the consumer ever again.
It won't.
Right? Why? Right? They're going to just bundle that thing up, securitize it, and punch it off and sell it off to other people again. That's huge.
And they're not concerned about interest rates. They don't care. They're paying cash for everything. Yeah. So it's one of those things. They're still buying in this market. This market's actually better for them because there's less competition. Yeah. So it's definitely something to make your consumers aware of, because your consumer thinks you're just trying to get a sale and that's all you want to do. So if you put some facts and things that educate them there, it makes them feel a lot more comfortable that, hey, they actually do care about me. Like they're fine if I don't buy a house, but this is why they're advising me to buy a house now. I don't know how much multifamily you guys have in Philly and kind of the surrounding areas. So that's been something really huge. I don't know if you know, but you can do 3.5% down and buy up to a fourplex if you're going to live in one of the units.
Yeah.
I've been doing that a lot. Delaware doesn't have much multifamily, but I've been doing it a lot in Delaware, where I'll take somebody who they qualify for 250. It's super hard for them to find a house at 250, but using the rental income on the other unit, I can qualify them for 500,000. You can find a duplex for 500,000 and walking that person through, because a lot of people think their first house is going to be this beautiful single family home. It's going to be in the best school district, exactly where they want, but walking them through like, hey, this is your step in your journey. You're going to buy this house right now because it gives you somewhere this years and you can live and you can make money off this property. And then you can move out and have 2 rental units and go take out a loan on your next property. And basically probably your 2 rental units will pay that mortgage plus half of your new mortgage. So it's just kind of educating them on some different options that a lot of people aren't thinking of. Most of your first time home buyers aren't looking for 2 to 4 unit properties. They're not. But if you show them housing hacking and how you can make money doing that and really change your life, it'll get them excited. And they're going to go tell all their friends about the person that showed them that.
Yeah, and if you don't know about house hacking, I did a video, it's on my YouTube channel, how you just let that season for a year and then you move into another one and do it again with FHA multifamily. So there's a way to get like multifamily, people buying multiple properties over a year rather than one every 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
So like my brain is like, you said it and I'm still trying to figure out in this point of the mastermind here, like, a lot of the impediments for our investor clients in this market is when they try to pencil out a deal, they can't make it pencil out in a way where it either cash flows or like, I teach the rule of 72, right? Aggregate return of 17% between, cash flow, interest, pay down in principal and appreciation rate. So walk me through this. How do you get them over the hurdle with that loan that you're talking about with the interest only?
With the interest only. Yeah. So the interest only, we're looking for it to cash flow. So like, let's say they're going to do a full principal and interest loan.
Okay.
Is losing $100 a month. We switch it to, interest only. We're not paying the balance down.
Yeah.
We still get to write off all of the interest, because you're
Right.
going to write all your interest off on investment property. So you don't care about that. The only thing in your math that you're doing, you're just missing the principal reduction, which we all know in mortgages on the front side, you're paying almost nothing to the principal. So it's more of a strategy of, hey, how long are you going to hold this? And you got to switch it from trying to find properties that have the greatest cash flow to finding properties that are in an area that have the greatest appreciation potential. Right. So maybe they're getting ready to extend the train line closer to this neighborhood. So you want to buy this because as soon as that train line gets finished, they're going to get an instant boost. Or maybe it's in a part of town where it's starting to be revitalized. Like there's commercial coming, they're starting to update everything, or maybe you got something where you can get a good deal on it. The rent absolutely sucks on it right now because they're paying $700 a month because it's not in great shape and the person's been there for 10 years. Know that you can go in there, switch that tenant out, increase the appeal of that home and get a higher end renter that's going to cash flow at that point. But the numbers, I think Zillow came out with this one is in 5 years, or actual Mortgage Banker Association came out with this one. In 5 years, the average home in America is going to appreciate 23%. So you're looking at, if you can at least pay for it and you never touch it, you put 20% down, and then you're going to pick up 23% of that house's value in 5 years. And it's no actual money out of your pocket because it cash flows. Plus you get the tax write-offs. That's the way I kind of break it down to clients and work it through.
Yeah, that's awesome. So where the dots again connected for me is for everybody who's gone through all my investment classes, right? So 3 metrics: cash flow, pay down in principal, and appreciation. So I heard 2 things there. We're too light in our assumptions on depreciation, even when we bumped it up, right? So we have like 4.4% on average over the last 20, 30 years, according to NAR. So we now got another statistic where it's 23% over the next, what was it?
5 years.
5 years. 5
5
years.
years.
All right. So sort of in line with that. But then what I'm hearing is on the pay down, that's the piece. Like my initial reaction, like, man, I'm not paying down my principal, I'm only paying interest. But you're right. Early on in the schedule, you're not paying much towards principal.
Yeah.
So you're going to refi this thing year 3, year 4, and you're better off because you're getting your cash flow.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like when you put money in stocks, you know, you're not, all you're doing on stocks is you're gaining the appreciation of that stock, right? With no tax write-offs. You're not going to write anything off, and you have capital gain. There's nothing you can do about it. If you put it in this home, yeah, you're not going to reduce the value or the, you know, how much you owe on that asset, but you're going to pick up the appreciation just like a stock. But you get the benefits of writing off interest, depreciation, and all those things that come with it. And, you know, you have a house, a solid asset versus a stock that company could go under, it could be gone.
Yeah, cooking the books, whatever they're doing, right? Yeah, and then you add the cash flow, and most stocks don't pay dividends, right? So like that's a good analogy.
Yep.
Awesome.
But it's just walking people through the fear that they have in this market. And then the biggest one, the piece that I'm really excited about is where is this market going? So history has always shown us the Fed slows down the economy by raising rates and making it harder to get funds, you know, quantitative tightening. And how do they get it going again? Every single time they stop it and it stalls and they're like, okay, we've messed up. We got to turn this around. They lower rates at the same pace that they raised them, you know? So we went up the fastest we've ever gone up on interest rates because we dropped them the fastest we have ever dropped them. So they just run an inverse. So, you know, there's actually some people out there that think we're gonna aggressively drop interest rates. I think it's going to be a more controlled approach. You know, realistically for me, in my mind, and I'm looking at my business and planning out finances and things like that on where the market's really going to start to shift. You know, for me in the mortgage business, I think it's going to be early summer of next year. You know, I think at some point in this fourth quarter, the Fed's going to kind of stop and say, hey, job numbers are coming in weaker. We're seeing GDP isn't growing like we want. They're going to see that they've kind of done enough. The beautiful thing, if you're a grinder and you work through this, you find ways to add value and you're there for your clients, you're communicating with your clients. When it changes, there's going to be a lot less competition, not only for you know, like me in the lending world, but for you guys. You know, agents are dropping out left and right. You know, lenders, we're down, I think, like over 50% from the like end of 2022 till now. You know, and it's projected we're going to have even less coming in the first quarter of 2024. But you know, that for me, that's an opportunity for you guys. These agents that are dropping out, they have past clients and they're eventually going to need to buy again. So if you've got a big producer or somebody that you know that's in the area and they drop out, go look up their past sales and get the addresses for that and start sending mailers to those people. Hey, if you need a great agent, I'm in your area. You know, for me, there's a bunch of lenders that are going to drop out that help clients buy houses. I've got lists of different lenders as they drop out, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to refinance all their clients when the rates drop. You know, it's finding those opportunities in the market. You know, if some of your competition drops out, not only do you have less competition to go find clients, but they have past clients that are no longer going to be served by anybody because they're not in the industry anymore. Somebody's got to serve those clients. So how do you get in front of them? And then using AI, that is a big piece we're kind of focusing on, is building communications that go out to clients that are generated through like ChatGPT. And it's amazing the stuff that you can generate in there so that we can start communicating more often with our clients. You know, I want more touches with my clients. We've already put a lot of stuff into place. So like if we have a client together and they're pre-approved, every Thursday, I'm going to call that client and keep them excited about the process. Hey, John, I know you've been looking at houses. How's this weekend going? I can't wait for you to get that house. Like, can you just imagine what it's going to be like when you and your kids move in there? Keep them excited. And then at the end of it, it's, can I ask you a favor? And they always say yes. If any of your friends, family, or coworkers are looking to buy, sell, or refinance, can you share my information? You know, so if you're going to have this client looking for a house, instead of it being 15 days that they're going to look and find a house, you got them for 60 to 90 days. That is 60 to 90 days that you can market to that client and build a deeper relationship with them to get more referrals. So if we have a client going together, I'm actively trying to get more referrals for you guys from that client through the whole process. Whether they're looking once they go under contract, like I highly encourage you, when you get a client, from the minute you get them, start to kind of build that relationship and then ask for referrals. Hey, I know we went out and saw houses this weekend. I feel like it was a lot of fun and we had a good time. Do you have anybody, friends, family, or coworkers that's looking to buy right now? Just those simple conversations. Like you want to look at every single client as your sales force, because the market is going to shift. And I think it's going to be one of those things where we're grinding through this really tough period and then it's going to change and you're not going to have time to put all this stuff in. Remember when COVID, when it was going crazy and like all you had to do was pick up your phone all the time? You don't have time to build processes and really refine your customer flow and how your customer feels working with you. Do that now. Start building that great experience for your clients. So when it does pick up, you're different. You're different than everybody else that's out there. That's all I got for you guys.
That's awesome, man. So think about right now, let's just take a minute. Any questions you have, mortgage, systems, processes, AI, how to get hair like Ed, whatever you want to ask. Nothing's off limits, man.
Yeah, and I'm an easygoing open book. So like if you want to text me after, if you have a question, shoot me a text. My goal is to help any way that I can to help you guys grow. I know if I can help you guys grow, we're going to do more business together. We're all in the trenches on this.
Cool. Go ahead, Tasha.
My quick question is, can you email us those programs that you went over? I know I took some notes, but I'm sure I missed quite a few of those things. I can send my email in the chat here. Because it'd be great to just have that in front of me where we can maybe use that, like you said, to make a quick video, some content that we can share with our clients.
Yeah, I'll shoot that over. And then if you need more after I send that over, just let me know. And then if you're starting to create content and you want like every once in a while some mortgage stuff you can drop on, just let me know and I can shoot you whatever you need, like a couple of bullet points that you can hop on and get clients excited for.
Awesome. Peter and then Sean.
Hey, this is Peter. My question is, what areas are your clients buying in where with the DSCR loans where cash flow is still pretty strong and where they're kind of seeing like, I guess, big estimated increase in terms of appreciation?
Yeah, so it's all over the place where I have clients. So like I have a couple of them that are just outside of the Philly area that are buying. I've got a good bit right now that are buying in Florida. But Florida's another animal with the insurance and taxes and everything. I actually would probably not be buying in Florida right now for investment purposes. And then a large amount of them are in Delaware. So Delaware has really low property taxes, which are helping with the cash flow. But I mean, what area are you just outside of Philly and work in Philly?
I'm mainly in Philadelphia, but that's one of the big struggles many of my clients have right now is just finding those areas of Philly where we can cash flow.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the tough part of fine. So there's things you could do on those DSCRs. You could put more down. The more you put down, you get a better interest rate. But on some of those, maybe it's looking at the deal of, hey, we're gonna do interest only on this and just get very minimal cash flow, knowing that in 12 to 24 months I'll refinance this into a different loan and get more cash flow. But it's getting them to buy the deal now, knowing that when rates drop, they can refinance, but also knowing that when rates drop, there's more competition, which is going to raise that price.
Got it. Thanks.
But yeah, finding the pocket of where it works, that's where you guys are the expert. I run the numbers and try to make it make sense for them. But that's finding properties that cash flow right now is tough. But if you can find numbers that work, that's why I think it's a great time to buy, because you don't have a lot of investors that are willing to buy in this market for those properties. And a lot of those properties that are investment properties, first-time home buyers are your only competition, or first-time home buyers only want to touch them. So you've got that opportunity to make a deal for your client.
Thanks, Peter. Good stuff. Great question. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, my question was just about like, does your company do like I've worked with like guaranteed rate in the past, and like they will actually like partner with me on like marketing materials. Like, so say I wanted to do a mailer. I do a lot of farming. I do a lot of circle prospecting in my area. And that's been helpful that like, you know, it advertises both of us and maybe like a cool program that you have. I just wanted to know if you had like a marketing department that does that sort of thing. I think you kind of already answered it, but
Yeah, so we have a marketing department, and just like the big companies and everybody, the marketing departments they can put a generic thing together. But if we want to create something, we've got the ability, and I have people on the team that can help create something in my internal office that'll be way better than what the market department. But yeah, we've done mailers with different people. We've done all kinds of different things. You know,
like networking events, things like that. I
Yep.
do a lot of them. Do a lot of networking events. So yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're down for whatever. Reach out to me.
Okay.
Cool. Questions. There's a couple things I want to rock and roll with while Ed's still on the call, but I want to make sure everybody gets their questions answered. And while you're thinking about that, just raise your hand or speak up. But I jotted down a couple things on how do we bulletproof our businesses, and what can we control, what can't we control. And I'm looking at it. All starts with mindset. Is anybody here an Eric Thomas fan? Have you ever heard ET speak? If not, go ahead, Darwin.
Yeah, he's the motivational speaker, black guy.
Yeah.
Always with a hat.
Yep.
High
He
adrenaline.
has, he talks about hunting, and he talks about waking up in the morning and saying it's time to hunt. And that mindset, if you wake up in the morning, doesn't matter what behavioral you are on a disc, that will flip your brain into, I'm going to make something happen today. So when I look at partnering with Ed, how do we bulletproof our business mindset? Then it's humbling ourselves enough to go, I can't do this alone. So who's going to be on my team? And I know in the past I got this idea from Ed. And although there's not a lot of, actually there's more down here than there is probably in the Philly area. But I'll take a picture of a for sale by owner, the address, and Ed, you can go over this if you want, and send it to Ed. And he calls them and says, hey, he's got a great script. Sounds a lot better than mine, but basically I'm not a real estate agent, nor do I ever want to be one. Do you want to go over that real quick? And this is just part of the arsenal that when we surround ourselves with the right people, with the right team, we just can't lose, man. You can't lose.
So one little thing we do to try to pick up some additional deals for yourself is, you know, we all ride past for sale by owners, or we'll see for sale by owners. They don't want to talk to you guys. That's why they're for sale by owner. So, you know, if you shoot a picture of the house in the sign to me with the address, I'll call the for sale by owner. And, you know, right in the beginning of that conversation, it's, hey, I'm at Stratton. I drove by your house. I love the blue shutters that you have. I think your house is awesome. Let me get this off the table. I'm not a real estate agent, nor do I ever want to be one. You know, so right there, guard comes down. I'm not trying to sell them anything. And I just go over, are you okay if I do some free marketing for you for your house? I'm a local lender, and I found that when I market houses, I pick up 1 to 2 clients for myself. And occasionally I have a client that wants to buy your house. Are you cool if I market it for you? You know, and they'll be like, well, what's the catch? What's all this? I'm like, there's no catches. I could do this without your permission, but I just don't want you to see a picture of your house up on Facebook or on some social media and you get nervous. So, you know, they'll say, okay, we do the marketing normally around like week 3, their house still hasn't sold. And we kind of change the conversation a little bit of, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at in having a conversation with a real estate agent to list your house? The house is beautiful. I'm getting a good bit of attention, but something's just off. It's just not selling, you know? And if they give me 5 or above, that's when I kind of sink the teeth in for you. And I say, Perfect. I actually have a for sale by owner specialist that I work with that offers a special discount for any of my clients. I don't care what your special discount is. I don't care if you're going to put 16 for sale signs in their front yard. I don't care if you're going to do professional photos as your discount. Just have something that you guys do as your incentive to work with the for sale by owner specialist. The whole goal of it is to book you a warm listing appointment. You know, I build a relationship with them over 3 to 4 weeks by doing something totally for free for them. You know, I throw up on social media, spend 50, 60 bucks boosting it. You know, occasionally we'll get a buyer who comes off that. If we get a buyer that comes off of that, I send them right back to you. You go find them a house to buy. But the goal is to get you that warm listing appointment. And then it's up to you to walk into that listing appointment with somebody and land it. You know, you're going into the listing appointment. They're already comfortable with me. They already like me. And then I referred you. So you have a really good chance of getting that listing appointment versus cold calling that listing like every single other real estate agent is and just hoping it's your lucky day.
Very cool. Thanks, Ed. So bulletproofing, and this is something I'm going to start working on with all of this, is who is on our bulletproof team? What are some of the strategies? One being rev share. Two being working with investors. Three being, how many of you would say that you have what are called super fans within your sphere of influence? And a super fan would be someone that I would say refers you or gives you an opportunity with at least 3 people a year. Marcus, you had your hand up?
Yeah, yep.
Cool. How many super fans do you think you have?
Say about 5, like legitimate folks that fall into that category or the definition that you gave. Say about 5 folks.
Yeah. Sean, how about you? I think you raised your hand.
Well, I live in like the town that I have never left. I grew up here. My parents grew up here. All my aunts and uncles. So I'm going to say I have like 10 that are constantly out there putting my name out.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Darwin.
2. I have 2.
2?
An investor and a first-time home buyer that I helped get into a home back in 2021. That refers me about 3 different like leads essentially a year. So.
Excellent. And how can you think about this? I had on my mastermind call with my little group this morning, we were talking about who are you a super fan of? And sometimes I call them strategic partners, but for this conversation, it's who are the people that you are super fans of? Your hairdresser, your mechanic, where you get your pizza, where you pick up your food. And what that sounds like is not only does Bella Cucina in Westchester, PA have the most incredible Italian food in the world, they also every month feed like 100 families. So they are a superhero, not only because of their product, but because of what they do in their community. The more that we can, and every time, talking to myself here, because every time I talk about somebody that's one of my superheroes, I attract business. It just happened this morning with the Brotherhood. I just put a post out. I'm so proud of these guys and what they've created in their personal life and their business life. Within 10 minutes, I had a broker reach out to me and ask, how do I apply to get into the Brotherhood? So creating those super fans if we become their super fans, and it has to be authentic, right? They have to be legit. That's part of bulletproofing our business, because we can only control what we can control. We can't control this BlackRock thing. We can't control interest rates. We can't control a lot of that. But what we can control is starting with our mindset, starting in the morning. I'm going to hunt. I'm going to catch something today. And it might even be that little guy wandering around Chester County. I might have to come up and hunt him down. Ideas, comments. In the closing minutes, does anybody have like a challenge that is smacking them in the face, that's taking air out of their lungs right now, that either I or Ed can help you with?
So for me, it's when you say challenge, the challenge I'm trying to hold myself accountable to is having 20 conversations a day. I'm running around somewhere between like 7 to 10, and last Friday I got 21. I was like, but oof, boy, was I tired after having 21 conversations. So that's kind of the challenge, that if you guys have any intakes on how I can continually every single day hit that, that would be great. Be helpful.
Ed, you want to go first and then I'll go?
Yeah. So for your conversations, do you have any rules around them, or is it just 20 conversations? Oh, did we just lost them?
Ah, he'll be back. So I know I'll start to, oh, there he is. He's back.
Sorry, froze.
Yeah, Darwin, do you have any rules around those conversations? Like who they need to be or what they need to be, or is it just 20 conversations a day?
So I have a database of like 1,100 people. So most of my conversations are just in my database, and that's typically prospects, new leads, closed, currently people that are active, like under contract. But if it's there like under contract, then I have to have a conversation around like getting referrals from them. So it's like basically new business development.
Yeah,
Yeah.
One thing that I've always done, like I hate making all those calls to make all those connections, but I know if I start with good momentum, I'll make them all. I'll call somebody that's in my circle for my first call. I'll pick a different, whether it's a real estate agent or a title company or a friend, and they'll be my first call. First thing in the morning, I'll make that call to somebody that I know it's going to be I'm not scared to call the person. I'm not nervous about where this conversation is going to go. And it's just going to be one of those positive, good starters to the day. I find that when I start with one or two people that are like, they're really easy, like they want to actually talk to me, I'm fine to make the next 10, 15 phone calls, because it's set that good momentum. Whereas, I make those database calls as well. If I call one of the ones that, hangs up or yells at me as the first call, now I don't want to make my 19 other calls, and I'm say, screw it, throw my list in the trash, and I go get myself something to eat or a coffee, So I've always found make that first couple calls ones that build that momentum.
Okay. So like one conversation.
Yeah, my question would be to everybody, like, would you consider your business marketing based and prospecting enhanced, or prospecting based, marketing enhanced? Where do you feel the most power? Where do you feel the most empowered? And for me, I like to put the funnel out there and have the people come to me, right? Rather than prospecting. Because I'm so passionate that a lot of times it doesn't go well because I lead from my heart. So it can get pretty funny with the conversations I have with people. So a couple ways that I use is I will go down. There's a couple rules that I have is if I comment on social media, if I see Marcus is at a park somewhere, I'll say, Marcus, is it cool if I give you a call? I'm thinking about having a family party at that park, right? I have to think of things, right? Because I am one extreme or the other. My recruiting calls when I was recruiting was, Marcus, it's Ed Fordyce. Just so we're clear, I am calling to recruit you. There is no filter. I need a lot of help, guys. So the way that I filter that is through marketing, where I need someone leaning in. And then I go, cool, let's talk about the park first. And by the way, what's going on in your business, man? What's your biggest challenge? Right? So think about, are you marketing based, prospecting enhanced, or prospecting based, marketing enhanced? And then you can make a decision of how do you make those 20 contacts, those 5 contacts. But the deal is, and I know Ed would say this, and I know we all know this, but knowing is nothing more, learning is nothing more than remembering. Consistency. I would rather see y'all talk to 2 people a day, every day, for the next 5 years, than 20 people in one day and then nobody for the next month. Doing the reps, baby. Before we rock and roll, because we're just about that time, is everybody walking away with something today that you're like, man, that was well worth an hour of my time today? Because I always want this group to be authentic. And Sean and I agreed yesterday, we were on a call and like my head was slapping against the table because I was falling asleep. It was so boring. And I want to make sure we never bring that here. So is everybody walking away with something today? Something strategic, something in the mortgage world, an action step, a new strategy? Give me a thumbs up if that's cool. And I want you to be real, man. Like, give me a thumbs down if you're like, man, I'm falling asleep here.
I've learned some things.
For sure. Definitely. I'll just say my takeaway. So definitely rethinking I'm gonna try to push for the 20, but I really like what you said about marketing base and then starting with, just more positive conversations in the beginning, being more market focused, trying to align myself to that. So yeah, definitely. I really appreciate this group and this call.
Very cool. And I'll say, reach out to Ed. The thing, I've watched him with people. He really cares. And what he'll say is, hey, I need to earn your business. Give me the hardest client and the hardest deal you got. Between that and him throwing up on the side of the road, I'm a fan. All right, y'all good? Ed, anything to close out, brother?
No, thanks for having me on here, guys. And please if you don't have my cell phone number, shoot at a text, he'll give it to you. But reach out, like any little questions you run into, like I want to be a resource to help grow your business, just reach out.
Good deal. Hey, thanks for spending an hour with us today. Rock and roll. And y'all know, if you need anything, you want to bounce some ideas off of me, it's all free for our group here. It's all free for our team, man. So make sure you reach out to me. Use me as a resource. All right.
Cool. Thanks, guys.